Hey everyone, welcome to another installment of Harry Potter Theory. The wizarding world has captivated our imaginations for decades, a realm filled with magic, wonder, and extraordinary beings. But have you ever noticed that in this vast magical world, there is a distinct absence of Muggle technology? While the functionality of Muggle tech may pale in comparison with the capabilities of magic, we do have to remember that the wizarding world is host to all kinds of magical beings, Muggle-borns included. And while the wizarding world may sometimes seem like a separate realm altogether, the surprisingly high number of Muggle-born witches and wizards that find themselves integrated into this enchanted society do bring with them a distinctly unique type of knowledge. Where Arthur Weasley, a pure-blood wizard, may find himself entirely preoccupied overanalyzing the functionality of a rubber duck, a young Muggle-born wizard may be versed in an entire world's worth of advanced tech. I wonder, with some knowledge of modern technology from the Muggle world, why don't we see the use of more Muggle technology in the wizarding world? And if Muggle tech did make an appearance in the wizarding world, would it be a net negative or net positive? And is the distinct lack of Muggle tech a deliberate choice made by the wizarding community, or are there inherent limitations that prevent the incorporation of such tech? Today, we're going to be exploring these very topics and attempting to decipher whether or not Muggle tech has a place in wizarding society. Let's dive in. Muggle relations, cultural barriers. When making comparisons between the Muggle and magical worlds, it's imperative that we first recognize relevant cultural barriers, particularly as it's this cultural divide that serves as a major contributor to the absence of Muggle tech in wizarding society. By the 17th century, wizard-Muggle relations were in dire straits. The persecution of witches and wizards had been on the rise throughout Europe since the early 15th century, which caused many in the wizarding community to feel a deep sense of fear and danger. In Great Britain, the newly formed Ministry of Magic desperately attempted to establish communication with the Muggle British monarchy, who at the time was under the joint rule of William III and Mary II. The ministry's special delegation pleaded for the protection of wizards under Muggle law, seeking official recognition for their magical brethren. However, the heartfelt appeals of the British ministry fell on deaf ears. The lack of response from the British monarchy seemed to be the final straw that led wizardkind to choose a different path, a path shrouded in secrecy, hidden from Muggles and their ever-increasing hostility. Left with no choice but the adoption of secrecy, wizardkind was forced to withdraw from the world of Muggles, retreating into their own magical realm. This in turn led to the enactment of the International Statute of Wizarding Secrecy, a protective measure that has enabled wizarding society to remain in relative peace for centuries. The law was put in place by the International Confederation of Wizards, a wizarding intergovernmental organization that's roughly equivalent to the United Nations in the Muggle world. This law, first signed in 1689 and officially ratified in 1692, was created to conceal the existence of witches and wizards from the Muggle population. It was designed to safeguard the magical world through the implementation of strict secrecy measures, preventing Muggles from discovering the existence of the wizarding community and their magical abilities. The introduction of the statute ushered in an era of secrecy and separation between the wizarding and Muggle worlds. But while it offered protection to witches and wizards, it also posed challenges and restrictions on their interactions with Muggles. And after the statute was ushered in, witches and wizards formed their own world, a world with no Muggles, and more importantly, a world that they owed to their magical abilities. And it's this very separation that led to a newly formed sense of identity and community within the wizarding world that resists the influence of Muggle technology. Moreover, the instances of magical persecution in the past likely create a psychological barrier that prevents the wizarding community from fully embracing anything Muggle, technology included. Overall, cultural barriers and a sense of preservation contribute to the absence of Muggle technology in the wizarding world. Wizards and witches value their distinct magical heritage and may see the integration of Muggle technology as a dilution of their culture and tradition. The historical tensions and the desire to maintain a separate identity further reinforce this reluctance to embrace Muggle tech. There are, however, other important factors that limit the incorporation of Muggle technology. Challenges. While Muggle technologies like computers, smartphones, and machinery have become integral parts of our daily lives, the wizarding world relies heavily on parchment, quills, and owls for communication. And it's this unanimous choice to adhere to such traditional methods that causes me to ponder the advantages this modern technology could offer the magical world. Cultural identity aside, what is it that drives witches and wizards to avoid the use of Muggle tech in all aspects? And is the absence of Muggle technology a hindrance or a deliberate choice that ensures the wizarding world remains untouched by the advancements of their Muggle counterparts? Here are a few of my thoughts on the subject. Fundamental incompatibilities. One of the most significant aspects of this conversation to consider is that there are fundamental incompatibilities between magic and technology. In case you weren't already aware, magic can adversely affect Muggle technology, rendering it useless or causing it to malfunction. Electrical devices and machines may stop working or act erratically in the presence of strong magical forces. They just don't work well together side by side. And while Muggle technology relies on predictable and logical systems, we have to remember that magic is unpredictable. As a result, any integration attempts must overcome this core incompatibility to work effectively. There's no need. Another aspect to consider is that the wizarding world offers unique magical alternatives which serve as more convenient solutions to everyday needs, further diminishing the reliance on Muggle inventions. One such example is the Flu Network, a magical transportation system that allows witches and wizards to travel instantaneously between fireplaces. Unlike Muggle transportation systems that require infrastructure, roads, and vehicles, the Flu Network eliminates the need for physical travel altogether. It provides a fascinating alternative that showcases the wizarding world's ability to achieve quick and convenient transportation without the use of conventional Muggle technology. Similarly, magical communication methods offer alternatives to Muggle tech like phones and email. Owls serve as reliable messengers for sending letters and packages in the wizarding world. With the use of magical enchantments, the owls can traverse great distances in a remarkably short time, providing a reliable and efficient means of communication. The existence of these wizarding world equivalents demonstrates the unique and self-sufficient nature of the magical community. With their own magical solutions available, witches and wizards have limited reliance on Muggle technology, as they possess alternatives that are often more efficient and tailored to their magical needs. Education. The wizarding education system has traditionally focused on magical education, with very little emphasis on Muggle technology. As a result, wizards and witches may lack the necessary knowledge, skills, and exposure to adopt Muggle technology. Additionally, the wizarding world has long been isolated from technological advancements in the Muggle world. Keeping up with rapidly advancing Muggle technology may be a challenge, making it challenging for the wizarding world to integrate it effectively. Educational reforms and financial investments may be necessary to overcome these limitations. Guns. No topic surrounding the use of Muggle technology can be complete without discussing guns. In a world full of powerful spells that bear extreme destructive potential, I've always wondered what the mindset is surrounding guns in the wizarding world. We don't see guns much, and I think the most notable instance of a wizard showing their attitude towards guns is when Hagrid bends Vernon Dursley's shotgun in the Philosopher's Stone. Hagrid's not even remotely afraid of the gun being pointed at him. But I don't think that it's because he feels that he's invulnerable to it. It's because he knows that Vernon is too much of a coward to actually properly pull the trigger. But that does sort of make me wonder, how destructive could a weapon like a gun actually be in the wizarding world? Surely it wouldn't overshadow magic, otherwise witches and wizards would be using guns, just like muggles, right? I did some digging online, and there seems to be a general consensus among many fans that at one point in time, Rowling actually spoke on this matter, revealing that the power of a gun, in many instances, outweighs the power of magic, specifically in the instance of a duel. In a fight between a muggle with a shotgun and a wizard with a wand, the muggle will win. However, I'm really not sure of the legitimacy of this quote. I'd really have to find the exact source to go by this. I'm also not convinced. I think that, though a gun could bear some destructive potential, magic is so much more versatile. I think the primary reason that guns aren't used by the large majority of witches and wizards is the fact that it's just, as I mentioned earlier, not a part of their culture. They don't exist anywhere, they're not advertised, no one owns them, there's no legislation surrounding them, and certainly no one is using them. Many witches and wizards grow up in a world entirely devoid of weapons like that, and I suppose that aspect of Muggle culture just never found its way in. We know, of course, that, in addition to the witches and wizards that have spent their entire lives in the wizarding world, there are also witches and wizards that grew up in the Muggle world, and spent a considerable amount of time there before attending Hogwarts. Presumably, these witches and wizards are at least somewhat familiar with Muggle technology, like guns. So if anyone were to consider using a weapon like a gun, then these would be the people. Now my question is, why don't these half-blood and Muggle-born witches and wizards spice up the battle against the Death Eaters, and pull out some guns? I think that one of the reasons that guns are never used is because witches and wizards are taught not to adopt that part of Muggle society, and many other parts of Muggle society for that matter. The primary goal of the Ministry of Magic and wizarding government is upholding the Statute of Secrecy, which upholds the divide between Muggle and magical worlds. This is best explained by Hagrid to Harry in the Philosopher's Stone. Ministry of Magic messing things up as usual. There's a Ministry of Magic? Of course. They wanted Dumbledore for minister, of course, but he'd never leave Hogwarts, so old Cornelius Fudge got the job. Bungler if there ever was one. So he pelts Dumbledore with owls every morning, asking for advice. But what does the Ministry of Magic do? Well, their main job is to keep it from the Muggles that there's still witches and wizards up and down the country. Why? Why? Blimey, Harry. Everyone would be wanting magic solutions to their problems. Nah, we're best left alone. What this means is that, among all other things that the Ministry handles, their ultimate responsibility is to ensure that there is a harmonious and distinctly segregated relationship with the Muggle world. Secrecy is of utmost importance. However, in this passage, Hagrid seems to suggest that the Statute of Secrecy is upheld because Muggles would want things from witches and wizards. They'd want magical solutions to their problems, and who knows what would come with that. In short, magic is more impressive than technology, and I can't see why on earth wizards would want to embrace the technology of the very people that sought to oppress them, especially if it meant exposing the magical world. And that's it for this video. Did I miss anything? Please let me know down in the comment section below. If you enjoy the content, please like the video and subscribe to the channel. Also, be sure to check out extra content on my second channel, Harry Potter Theory Extra, as well as audio-only content on Spotify. Until next time, remember, it does not do to dwell on dreams, and forget to live.